This could not be viewed with common sense. This saber strike knocked Murong Yen, Lu Ruyun, and the others back one after another. Their auras plummeted, and blood leaked out of a corner of their lips as they fell to the ground. Zhen Yuan turned around and took 3 steps back before he stabilized himself. The demonic might on his body slowly receded. Bang! On the other side, Situ Changfeng, who was blocking Yin Songming's killing move alone, finally could no longer hold on. The 1,000 clouds stacking cliffs shattered, and the mysteries of death entered his body. Situ Changfeng's life force immediately drained away. His expression turned grave as he resisted the endless mysteries of death in his body with much difficulty. Whoosh! Come with me then. Yin Songming brushed past Situ Changfeng and charged at Lu Ruyun, preparing to send Situ Changfeng flying. However, something strange suddenly happened. A horrifying aura burst out of Lu Ruyun's body. Despite moving later, she arrived first and soared into the air. Yin Songming revealed an extremely horrified expression because of Lu Ruyun's aura. At this moment it completely suppressed Yin Songming. His body even turned somewhat stiff, and fear welled up in his heart. Lu Ruyun blew away the death chi on Yin Songming's body with a palm strike. Then, she instantly stabbed the saber with her right hand into Yin Songming's chest. A horrifying saber intent surged out. Even the injuries that Yin Songming suppressed when he fought with Xiao Chun erupted at the same time. At the crucial moment, Yin Songming landed a palm strike on Lu Ruyun and quickly bounced back. Situ, are you alright? Lu Ruyun landed and looked at Situ Changfeng with guilt on her face. Had Situ Changfeng used the strand of aura that the White Dragon King left in his body earlier, Situ Changfeng would not be in such a predicament. If Lu Ruyun used this strand of aura, her father, the White Dragon King, would know that she had snuck out. The dragon race had extremely strong life force. The innate energy that their bloodline gave them made them different from other cultivators. They had strong recovery abilities and strong life force. When facing the corrosion of the Death Dao's mysteries, they should have strong resistance. However, this Yin Songming seemed to have modified his Death Dao, making it especially effective against dragon race cultivators. Situ Changfeng's current situation did not look optimistic. Damn it! You two bastards! The others struggled to get up. After checking Situ Changfeng's situation, they glared at the two. So that's how it is. I know who you are now. After Yin Songming fell to the ground, he executed a strange hand seal. Then the death chi on his body suddenly soared, forcefully suppressing his injuries. Yin Songming's gaze turned even more fervent as he looked at Lu Ruyun. It is not just him. All of you will not be able to escape death today. Then he sized up his surroundings: the Pill River, the herb field, the coiling dragon tree, and that heaven-supporting medicine cauldron. In the past, there were no suitable treasures to collect. However, the divine universe steel that Xiao Chun obtained from the divine crystal seemed to be able to collect everything. Chapter 1967. After a lot of effort, the group arrived at the herb garden. Outside the ancient city, a person wearing robes with pictures of the 26 constellations used his soul energy to rush over from the distant heavenly lodging sect's headquarters. The blood sand that lingered in desolate God Valley all year round and the harsh environment did not seem to affect this person at all. It was like he was walking on a boundless plain, looking down on everything. All the storms, sand, and horrifying ferocious beasts did not exist before him. Or rather, they were not worth his attention at all. He simply ignored them like air. The terrifying blood sandstorm scattered before this person. Before the horrifying ferocious beasts could show their ferocious side, The blood sandstorm had already shattered into pieces. Not even a corpse remained. This person simply walked over, looking down on everything, feeling suffocatingly strong. No one knew where this person's destination was in the vast desolate God Valley. His eyes scanned the surroundings as if he was searching for something. From time to time, he would close his eyes to sense, and a trace of worry and hidden anger appeared between his brows. That hidden anger made everyone who had seen his strength not want to become his enemy. After confirming a direction, the old man quickly headed over. However, when he reached his destination, he found nothing. In this desolate God Valley, even someone as strong as this person experienced interference with his soul energy. After a few attempts, the old man continuously corrected his direction. His hidden rage reached its limit. Finally, a 2-star heaven-suspending war chariot hovering in the air appeared before the old man. Then the old man truly stopped moving. Boom! The old man threw a palm strike, and the 2-star heaven-suspending war chariot exploded in the air. The heaven-suspending war chariot was like a toy. The defensive formations that the Pirate Alliance put in so much effort to create were not worth mentioning before this person. The heaven-suspending war chariot exploded, and a figure fell. The old man's figure flashed and firmly caught this figure. Naturally, this person was Hua Qingyun, whom Xiao Qian and the others had been restraining. The old man casually removed the restrictions on Hua Qingyun and sent in a strand of astral energy. Hua Qingyun slowly woke up. When Hua Qingyun saw the old man's face, he exclaimed in pleasant surprise, "Grandfather!" This old man was Hua Qingyun's grandfather, the Heavenly Lodging Palace's sovereign emperor Hua Qin. When Hua Qin saw that Hua Qingyun was fine, he heaved a sigh of relief. Then he asked sullenly, "Who did this to you? They are truly audacious. They even dare to bully my Hua Qin's grandson. The people of this branch in ancient desolate town are all trash." The appearance of Xiao Qian and the others immediately appeared in Hua Qingyun's mind. He said, "It's a group of people from the Divine Dragon Empire. I only remember their appearances. I don't know who they are." "That's enough. Leave the rest to Grandpa. Whoever hurts my grandson, no matter who it is, must pay the price." The anger on Hua Qin's face seemed to be enough to make one's soul tremble. In the herb garden, Situ Changfeng recovered at a visible speed, and his complexion became better. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell that Situ Changfeng had profited from his misfortune. Not only had he recovered from his injuries, but his bloodline had also been strengthened. "Xiao Qian, what kind of medicinal pill does Situ eat? Give me one as well." When Murong Yan saw that Situ Changfeng was fine, he relaxed and said with a smile, "Get another one?" It was estimated that the pill spirit would fight with him. There was not much medicinal power in the first place, and Xiao Qian seized 1/10 of it. If Murong Yan took another 10th, the pill spirit would definitely go berserk and try to take him down with it. A starving camel was still bigger than a horse. After all, the pill spirit had divine nature. Murong Yan could not casually offend it. Xiao Qian smiled and ignored Murong Yan's request. He looked up at the sky, wondering how the demon blood vulture was doing. In reality, Xiao Qian was not too worried about the demon blood vulture's life or death. The demon blood vulture was very crafty and strangely fast. Even if it could not defeat Ming Xian and that mysterious person, it would not have difficulty fleeing. Xiao Qian did not know what fortuitous encounter the demon blood vulture obtained, but it looked like a burning blood phoenix. Speaking of fortuitous encounters, Xiao Qian should be the one with the greatest fortuitous encounters in this ancient city. Xiao Qian did not fight for the shattered divine crystal fragments. However, he vaguely sensed that the divine universe steel he obtained was even more valuable than the complete divine crystal. The 4 directions were called the universe, and the ancient times were called the Aeon. The divine universe steel was a space-related miraculous item. However, Xiao Qian had not had the time to investigate its mysteries. As for its origins, Xiao Qian found only some clues and a few words in the blood-soaked Dragon Emperor's memories. It was mysterious and unfathomable. There was no real explanation for it. During the primal chaos epoch, before heaven and earth were separated and order was not born, the world was in primal chaos, giving birth to countless gods and demons. The primal chaos ended and shattered, giving birth to the great desolate continent. Legend had it that this divine universe steel was born when the primal chaos shattered. Aside from the divine universe steel, there was the even more mysterious divine Aeon steel. However, no one knew how many divine universe steels and divine Aeon steels were born at the same time, and whether there were other items born at the same time. Xiao Chun did not know how many mysteries the divine universe steel had. However, he could understand its simple function of storing things. The herb garden should be safe for now. Xiao Chun searched for a quiet place in the surroundings. He took out the divine universe steel, wanting to refine it and merge it with his physical body. However, after trying for a while, Xiao Chun was shocked to discover that he could not refine this divine item at all. Even leaving his own spiritual mark on it was extremely difficult. After thinking about it, Xiao Chun felt that he needed divine energy to truly refine it. He had to settle for the next best thing, merging a strand of his will of soul with the divine universe steel to achieve simple control. This made Xiao Chun feel somewhat weak. Without a spiritual mark and without refining it, he could not leave it. If someone snatched it away, it would easily become someone else's treasure. Simply put, even if someone snatched away the tyrant saber in his hand, he would not worry at all. Others would not be able to use it at all. They might not even be able to draw the saber out. Sooner or later it would belong to Xiao Chun. After a strand of his will of soul merged with the divine universe steel, Xiao Chun's spiritual sense entered the divine universe steel's inner space with a whoosh. The inner space was vast and boundless with primal chaos at the edges. Deep inside, Xiao Chun felt very different from the immortal spirit ring. This was a real world. Can I enter with my physical body as well? Just as Xiao Chun wondered this in his heart, he felt something solid under his feet after a moment of distraction. He actually really entered. Where's Xiao Chun? The sudden disappearance of Xiao Chun quickly attracted the attention of Murong Yan, Lu Ruyun, and the others, greatly startling them. When they rushed over, they saw a stone steel radiating a horrifying might and pressure hovering where Xiao Chun cultivated. Divine Universe Steel. After the group read out the ancient words on the stone steel, they revealed doubtful expressions. They had never heard of such a stone steel before. Could it be that Xiao Chun entered the stone steel? Murong Yan's guess startled him. If that was true, then this stone steel was rather heaven-defying. A spatial treasure that could store a living person definitely surpassed a soul tool. People had only heard of such a divine item, but few had actually seen it. As though to verify Murong Yan's guess, Xiao Chun silently appeared before the group while holding the divine universe steel in one hand. Wei Hongfei exclaimed in shock. What is Xiao Chun doing? Xiao Chun smiled as he replied. This is the divine universe steel that I obtained after deciphering some divine characters in the divine crystal. Right now I do not know how useful it is. The group felt shocked at Xiao Chun's luck. After congratulating him, Wei Hongfei said with a grave expression, Xiao Chun, don't casually reveal this treasure. I believe that even a sovereign emperor will want to kill it if they see it. Xiao Chun nodded. Even if Wei Hongfei had not said so, he would not have dared to casually take it out. After all, he had not even left a spiritual mark on it. The divine universe steel did not belong to him yet. After separating the group, Xiao Chun arrived before the Pill River and infused his soul energy into the divine universe steel. After a while, the entire Pill River soared up like a dragon, flying towards the divine universe steel. When the Pill River was completely absorbed into the divine universe steel, Xiao Chun wobbled somewhat, and his complexion paled slightly. Many people had set their sights on this Pill River. However, at best they could only collect some of it. It was not even a drop in the ocean. However, Xiao Chun waved his hand, and the divine universe steel activated, storing the entire Pill River in it. Murong Yan and the others were flabbergasted at this sight, feeling incredibly shocked. After resting for a while and recovering some of his soul energy, Xiao Chun held the divine universe steel and stored the coiling dragon tree and the gargantuan medicine cauldron into it. Xiao Chun nearly overdrew on his soul energy. If not for reading the divine characters strengthening his will of soul significantly, he would not have been able to collect the Pill River and the coiling dragon tree. Even with the divine universe steel, Xiao Chun believed that he would not be able to collect the Pill River and the coiling dragon tree. This made Xiao Chun realize that the divine universe steel was not omnipotent. When collecting treasures, It exhausted a startling amount of soul energy. As Lu Ruyun and the others looked at Xiao Qian, they all felt somewhat afraid. Right now, Xiao Qian's wealth was comparable to that of a sovereign personage. Even a sovereign personage would pale in comparison. There was a pill river that could feed a rank 6 sect, a 7-colored coiling dragon tree, and a spatial divine item that could store a living person. Lu Ruyun suddenly recalled that when Xiao Qian obtained the coiling dragon tree sapling, he said that he would not hand it over to the Dragon's Gate to exchange for a reward. In that case, what was the point of keeping it for himself? A divine item like the coiling dragon tree could bring out its greatest value in the hands of a sect faction. It would benefit the sect disciples and quickly strengthen them, ensuring that the sect's inheritance would not be destroyed. To an individual, the only thing they could obtain from it was the coiling dragon fruit. At most, they could eat 4 or 5 of them, and there would not be much of an effect. Lu Ruyun thought for a while but could not figure it out, so she stopped thinking. She revealed a faint smile. She should be happy for Xiao Qian for having such a fortuitous encounter. Situ Changfeng is awake. Murong Yan discovered that Situ Changfeng had opened his eyes at some point in time and stood up. Situ Changfeng stood up and looked at Xiao Qian with gratitude in his eyes. Situ Changfeng knew better than anyone else what kind of medicinal pill Xiao Qian gave him, and what kind of changes it would bring him. Situ Changfeng had not expected Xiao Qian to give away such a precious medicinal pill instead of consuming it himself. Xiao Qian nodded slightly. He could tell what Situ Changfeng meant by his eyes, telling him not to mind. Situ, sorry. If I had used the strand of will that father left in my body earlier, you would not have suffered so much. Lu Ruyun stepped forward and apologized to Situ Changfeng. This young lady had been feeling guilty all this time. Situ Changfeng smiled casually and said, "You should learn from Murong Yan. I saved this fellow's life several times, but he did not say a word of thanks." Clearly, Situ Changfeng did not mind Lu Ruyun's teasing and did not blame her. Lu Ruyun giggled. Only then did she feel relieved. Strangely, Murong Yan did not retort. Everyone looked around. Be it Wei Hongfei, Duanfei, or Xiao Qian, they all revealed smiles. After a calamity, one would understand many things. How fortunate was it to have such a group of friends and brothers to take risks and live together. Chapter 1968. In the ancient city, after Qin Outyan's group died and only 3 people remained, they finally escaped the pursuit of the flood dragon humans. Those people seemed to have retreated. Zhongli said cautiously as he sized up the surroundings after not seeing any movement for a long time. Beside him, Lu Yunfei's shoulder was bleeding profusely. His injury was terrifying. "Junior brother, is your arm okay?" Zhongli asked sullenly. Of the White Dragon Palace disciples that came with him, only Lu Yunfei remained. The price he had to pay for this opportunity was a little too high. Most importantly, they didn't get any fortuitous encounters at all. After entering the city, they took the wrong path and entered the East Gate. Not long after, the group ran into Yan Songming and Zhan Yuan. These 2 freakishly strong people managed to injure the group within a few moves. As for Qin Outyan, Zhongli could only say that he had been blind to think that Qin Outyan was someone important. He had inherited Dao artifacts and grasped several great Daos at the same time. Before he met a true expert, he was truly boundlessly strong. Xiao Qian felt that he was practically unrivaled among holy venerates. He gained many fortuitous encounters in desolate God Valley. However, Qin Outyan did not last even 10 moves against Yan Songming and veritable essence energy. Qin Outyan ended up severely injured within 10 moves, losing all his aura and being scared out of his wits. If Xiao Qian had all these inherited Dao tools, not to mention defeating Yan Songming, he would at least be able to protect himself. Thinking about himself, he did not even have a decent inherited Dao tool. This fellow was really lucky. Zhongli. Just as Xiao Qian was examining Lu Yunfei's injuries, Qin Outyan suddenly walked over and grabbed Xiao Qian's collar with a sullen expression. "Qin Outyan, what are you doing?" Zhongli turned pale with fright. He even saw a trace of killing intent in Qin Outyan's eyes. Qin Outyan demanded coldly, "Tell me, what is your relationship with that white-robed bladesman? Why did he help you block Qin Outyan?" After recovering from his shock, Zhongli's expression slowly calmed down. He did not reply and only pointed his finger. In an instant, The tip of his finger shone with a cold light and was extremely sharp. Qin Outyin was slightly startled, and he let go and retreated. Zhongli said indifferently, "Qin Outyin, don't get touchy with me. I do not know the person you are talking about." Qin Outyin smiled and said, "You are actually playing dumb with me. But it doesn't matter. Since I already know his name, I will find out his identity sooner or later." Zhongli found this strange. Just what kind of enmity did this fellow have with Xiao Chun for him to endure for so long? After confirming that there was no danger, he immediately erupted. Boom! Just at this moment, an aura enveloped them. Qin Outyin, Zhongli, and Lu Yunfei were immediately restricted, unable to move. Their hearts were filled with fear, and their eyes were filled with terror. Is it them? Looking carefully, he discovered that the source of all this aura was an old man wearing a constellation robe on the opposite roof. Beside him was a young man. The young man shook his head and said, "Not them." For some unknown reason, when the young man said that it wasn't them, Qin Outyin and the other two heaved a sigh of relief. There are 2 auras of dragon race cultivators in the city. Since it is not them, it should be another group of people. Just as the sovereign emperor Hua Qin was about to leave, he suddenly waved his hand in the air, and a portrait of Xiao Chun appeared clearly before the 3. "Do you recognize him?" The expressions of Zhongli and the other 2 changed slightly. However, at this moment even Qin Outyin could not be stupid enough to say that he knew Xiao Chun. The 3 shook their heads and denied it. Hua Qingyun smiled coldly and said, "What clumsy acting skills. Since you know this person, grandfather, just kill them." Qin Outyin and the other 2 immediately felt like crying. What was going on? This was especially so for Qin Outyin. He cursed all 18 generations of Xiao Chun's ancestors in his heart. Xiao Chun offended a sovereign emperor for no reason at all. What exactly did he do? Hua Qin remained expressionless. He stretched out his hand and grabbed Qin Outyin like he was a little chick. All Hua Qin needed to do was squeeze gently, and he could kill Qin Outyin like he was squashing an ant. Qin Outyin was so frightened that tears leaked out of his eyes. He felt a chill in his pants. He had actually lost control. Hua Qin revealed a look of disgust in his eyes. However, just as he was about to make a move, he sensed a trace of a pure golden dragon royal bloodline in Qin Outyin's body. To think that the purple gold dragon emperor's bloodline has such a cowardly descendant. How laughable. The sovereign emperor Hua Qin revealed a disdainful expression as he tossed Qin Outyin back to the ground. When Hua Qingyun heard that, he could only give up on killing Qin Outyin. He looked towards the center of the city and said, "Grandfather, there seems to be some fortuitous encounter there." The sovereign emperor Hua Qin replied indifferently, "It is just a pile of divine crystal fragments. They are not of much use. After I deal with the matter at hand, I will get them to spit them out." The incomplete divine crystal did not hold much attraction to Hua Qin. However, it would be a pretty good reward for a sovereign personage of the sect. Whoosh! The 2's figures flashed and they left this place. Am I dead? After Qin Outyin was tossed to the ground, he still had not recovered his wits. It was like he was scared silly. Zhongli and Lu Yunfei heaved a long sigh of relief. Unexpectedly, at the last moment, they relied on the clan behind Qin Outyin to survive. However, the 2 felt somewhat embarrassed and did not look at Qin Outyin. "Senior brother, senior sister Ruyun is still with Xiao Chun," Lu Yunfei said when he thought of something. Zhongli looked in the direction that the sovereign emperor left and said, "Let's follow and take a look. If we can find senior sister before this sovereign emperor, we might still make it in time." "Let's go." The 2 knew Lu Ruyun's identity. Earlier they left her behind because they felt that she would not die if she was with Xiao Chan and the others. However, now that a sovereign emperor was here, the situation was different. As cultivators of the white dragon race, the 2 still had some conscience. However, while they had good intentions, how could they be faster than a sovereign emperor? Back in the herb garden, Xiao Chan sensed that the demon blood vulture had already shaken off the holy sun Ming Xian. He relaxed and decided to leave the city immediately before meeting up with the demon blood vulture. Aside from Xiao Chan, everyone else in the ancient city had gained something and was already satisfied. Everyone agreed to the suggestion of leaving. "You want to leave just like that?" Who knew? Just as the group left the herb garden, A familiar voice rang out from the roof in front. Hua Qingyun. When the group saw the source of that voice, they were greatly startled. They had clearly worked together to restrain this person. At this moment, Hua Qingyun should be in the heavens suspending war chariot outside the city. Why was he in the ancient city? Xiao Chen's heart sank. Suddenly, he thought of a possibility. Then he said, "Let's go." Murong Yan and the others did not understand why they should fear Hua Qingyun. However, since Xiao Chun said it, it was better to listen to him. At this moment, Xiao Chun could only place his hopes on that person. He was greedy for the divine crystals in the center of the city and did not come with them. Bang! 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 The group soared into the air. However, they crashed into an invisible barrier in the air and bounced back. Xiao Chun landed firmly on the ground with a grave expression. He knew that the thing that he did not want to happen the most had happened. Since Xiao Chun learned of this Hua Qingyun's identity, he had thought about how to deal with this person. Originally, he wanted to release this person after leaving ancient desolate town. Xiao Chun thought that a sovereign emperor expert would not make things difficult for them, the juniors. If Hua Qingyun came to seek trouble, he would just be seeking his own humiliation. There was no need to worry. Unexpectedly, that mysterious sovereign emperor cared so much about Hua Qingyun that he personally came to seek trouble. When Hua Qingyun saw Murong Yan fly up in disbelief and get knocked down again and again, he mocked. "Go ahead and fly. Aren't there a bunch of dragons? Why are you all not flying anymore?" Even without Xiao Chen's reminder, the others already felt that something was wrong. Xiao Chen looked around and said indifferently, "Senior, just show yourself. Since you are already here, why are you still afraid of embarrassing yourself before us juniors?" Humph! A cold snort rang out. Xiao Chen and the others felt like they were struck by lightning. Their souls trembled and their qi and blood surged. They could no longer endure it and vomited a mouthful of blood, their complexions paling. Hua Qingyun slowly walked out and looked coldly at Xiao Chen and the others, not saying anything. A sovereign emperor. Despair surged in the hearts of Murong Yan and the others. This old man was definitely someone who surpassed sovereign personage. The pressure he gave off was too strong. There was no way around it. Interesting. To think that a mixed blood dragon has more backbone than the purple gold dragon emperor's descendant. When the sovereign emperor Hua Qin saw that Xiao Chun remained standing, showing no intention of begging for mercy in his eyes, he revealed a trace of appreciation. "However, I like to torture people with backbone the most." The sovereign emperor Hua Qin flicked his finger, and two cracking sounds rang out. Xiao Chen's calves shattered, and he fell to his knees. Amid the intense pain, Xiao Chen clenched his teeth in silence. He stabbed the tyrant's saber into the ground with his right hand and supported himself on one knee. "Xiao Chen!" Lu Ruyun rushed over and supported Xiao Chen, glaring at Hua Qin. However, Xiao Chen's gaze remained incredibly calm, not showing any fluctuations. The sovereign emperor Hua Qin asked, "Don't you hate me? I am not as skilled as others. What is there to hate? However, I will take responsibility for my own actions. I killed the heavenly lodging palace's people. It has nothing to do with others," Xiao Chen said, enunciating every word as he looked at the sovereign emperor Hua Qin. "If you dare to touch him again, I swear that I will make you pay the price." Lu Ruyun supported Xiao Chen as she looked at the sovereign emperor Hua Qin. Her valiant face looked somewhat scary. The White Dragon King's descendant? The sovereign emperor Hua Qin looked at Lu Ruyun. When he saw the royal white dragon bloodline in her, some surprise flashed in his eyes. However, Hua Qin soon smiled coldly. "I just killed a mixed blood dragon. Do you think that the White Dragon King is your father? He only has a royal bloodline. At most he can guarantee your death." Having a royal bloodline did not mean that one was a direct descendant of the royal bloodline. It was just like how Qin Outyan was definitely not a descendant of the purple gold dragon emperor. He was just a relative of that bloodline. "Sorry, I am really her father." Faint laughter came from the surroundings. Then a figure that looked like a white dragon suddenly appeared. This figure clashed with Hua Qin's palm strike. Boom! The shock wave spread out. All the buildings within 50 kilometers that were not protected by special formations turned to ashes. Blood leaked out of a corner of the sovereign emperor Hua Qin's lips. Horror flashed in his eyes as he staggered back a few steps. Chapter 1969. The White Dragon King. It really is the White Dragon King. The White Dragon King wore long robes of alternating blue and white. However, he looked young, handsome, and heroic. If one looked carefully, one would discover that Lu Ruyun's exquisite face, which exuded a heroic air, was more or less inherited from her father. The sovereign emperor Hua Qin felt somewhat shocked. He could not understand why someone of the White Dragon King's status would come to such an insignificant place. White Dragon King, why are you here? The White Dragon King smiled faintly and said, Hua Qin, you are still the same as before, unable to understand me. Didn't I say that I am her father? Do I have to repeat myself? The sovereign emperor Hua Qin immediately felt speechless. When he thought of what he said earlier, he wished that he could slap himself. This little girl's father was really the White Dragon King. Xiao Chun had guessed correctly. Hua Qin said sullenly, I don't care if she is your daughter. However, this fellow is just a mixed-blood dragon. He imprisoned my grandson. It is not overboard for me to take his life, right? How frustrating. Boom! The White Dragon King revealed an impatient expression. His figure flashed as he threw 3 palm strikes. Bang! 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 Hua Qin took a step back every time he received a palm strike. After the 3 palm strikes, Hua Qin's face twitched slightly as if he was enduring something. However, he could not endure it in the end. He vomited a mouthful of blood, along with his shattered internal organs. A divine vein realm sovereign emperor already condensed a divine body. Their physical bodies could be considered immortal. However, the White Dragon King's 3 palm strikes actually shattered Hua Qin's internal organs. This showed how great the gap between the two was. The White Dragon King acted like he had not moved at all. He said indifferently, Hua Qin, did you not hear what my daughter said? If you touch him, you will pay the price. You are already so old, but your intelligence is still the same as when you were young. I wonder how you surpassed a sovereign personage. Hua Qin felt humiliated. However, the divine vein realm had a total of 9 divine veins. Each additional divine vein represented a huge chasm. Hua Qin had just advanced to sovereign emperor. Compared to the White Dragon King, he was much weaker. Hua Qin had not expected the White Dragon King to not give him any face, not even letting him touch a mixed-blood dragon. This humiliation reminded Hua Qin of the White Dragon King suppressing him when he was young, making him feel even more sullen. Let's go. Hua Qingyun was stunned. Grandpa, why are we leaving? Can't we even deal with a mixed-blood dragon? The White Dragon King laughed. Ha ha, Hua Qin, your grandson is just like you. He has inherited your intelligence. No wonder you're so protective of your children that you wouldn't hesitate to come to such a small place to attack your juniors. Hua Qin's expression changed rapidly as he spat out a mouthful of blood. Xiao Chun picked up Hua Qingyun with one hand and quickly left. If he lingered, even if the White Dragon King did not beat him to death, he would be frustrated to death. Greetings, Lord White Dragon King. Wei Hongfei knelt on one knee and bowed respectfully. The White Dragon King nodded slightly. Then his gaze fell on Xiao Chun. He smiled and said, Come, come, come. Let me see what the person my daughter is interested in looks like and what his name is. The moment the White Dragon King said that, Murong Yin and the others felt embarrassed. This White Dragon King really spoke without restraint. When Lu Ruyun heard this, she felt even more speechless. Her face filled with embarrassment. You should know my name. Xiao Chun raised his head and looked at the White Dragon King. Then he clenched his teeth, his voice trembling somewhat. He could not hide the rage and dissatisfaction in his heart. Xiao Chun originally thought that with his mental state, he could hide his true emotions without changing his expression, not expressing his joy or anger. However, when he personally saw the person who erased Lu Ruyu's memories, he still lost his composure. The White Dragon King's smile froze. As he looked at Xiao Chun's face, many scenes flashed in his mind. It's him. This was the person whom Lu Ruyue could not forget in the abandoned land. The person whom she entrusted her life to. Hence, the White Dragon King had to personally erase Lu Ruyue's memories. The White Dragon King had never expected that one day, this person would come from the abandoned land and find his way here, one step at a time. The White Dragon King was very clear on how many difficulties, dangers, and obstacles one had to face to reach this step from the abandoned land. Before Lu Ruyue's memories were erased, she said that Xiao Chan would definitely come out of the abandoned land and come to the Divine Dragon Empire to look for her. The White Dragon King laughed it off, not taking it seriously. This was simply impossible. To the White Dragon King, the abandoned land could not even be considered a rank 2 sect. It was too insignificant. However, right now, Xiao Chan truly appeared before the White Dragon King. He looked exactly the same as the person in Lu Ruyue's memories. Xiao Chan had a delicate and handsome face, a determined and unyielding gaze, and a hidden sharpness on his face. No words could describe the White Dragon King's shock. The White Dragon King had been a sovereign emperor for many years and had seen many grand scenes. However, he had never shown such an expression before. "You are very good." After a long time, the White Dragon King said these 3 words, which sounded rather strange. The others all felt that the atmosphere was somewhat strange. There seemed to be some karma between the White Dragon King and Xiao Chan. Murong Yan and the others felt that something was wrong when Xiao Chan spoke to the White Dragon King without using honorifics. Even a simple-minded person like Murong Yan knew that one had to use honorifics when meeting the White Dragon King. It was impossible for Xiao Chan not to know. However, everyone found it hard to imagine what grudge there was between Xiao Chan and the White Dragon King. The difference in strength between the two was too great. There should not have been any interaction between them. In reality, no matter how hard they thought, they could not imagine that the White Dragon Holy Daughter was Xiao Chen's lover. The White Dragon King had erased his lover's memories. The somewhat stunned Lu Ruyun also felt that something was wrong. She knew more than the others. At this moment, she finally confirmed that Xiao Chan was the person in her elder sister's painting. The scarier thing was that Lu Ruyun saw a trace of murderous intent on her father's face. No one noticed this trace of murderous intent. Only Lu Ruyun knew that her father would show such an expression only when he really wanted to kill someone. Even when the White Dragon King attacked the sovereign emperor Hua Qin with a horrifying momentum earlier, he did not show any murderous intent. Lu Ruyun felt some fear for some reason. She said, "Father, what are you saying?" Quickly reattach Xiao Chen's leg. Xiao Chan rejected. "There's no need. It will heal eventually." The White Dragon King's expression finally changed. He smiled and said, "It's fine. It's just a piece of cake." Upon seeing this scene, Lu Ruyun heaved a sigh of relief. The White Dragon King scattered that trace of murderous intent. Whoosh! The White Dragon King did not move at all. He arrived beside Xiao Chan and gently tapped twice. The shattered bones in Xiao Chen's leg healed at a visible pace. Then, the White Dragon King arrived beside Situ Changfeng and patted his shoulder twice. Strands of black death energy immediately leaked out of Situ Changfeng's body. The White Dragon King felt it was strange. He said, "What exquisite death energy! Who did it?" With the hidden danger in his body removed, Situ Changfeng felt much more at ease. He said gratefully, "Lord White Dragon King, many thanks for making a move." This was the Flood Dragon human outstanding talent, Yen Songming. Is he still in the ancient city? A rather clear murderous intent flashed in the White Dragon King's eyes. Clearly, he did not want to leave this disaster alive, so he was rather decisive in killing. He already died under Xiao Chen's saber. The moment Situ Changfeng said that, he felt that he said something wrong. Beads of sweat appeared on his forehead. After hearing that Yen Songming died under Xiao Chen's saber, the murderous intent in the White Dragon King's eyes did not fade. Instead, it intensified. The White Dragon King turned around and looked at Xiao Chan. He discovered that although Xiao Chan was disrespectful to him, he was not stupid enough to point fingers at him and ask him to recover Lu Ruyue's memories. Unfortunately, the White Dragon King sighed in his heart. Then he looked at Xiao Chan and said, "You are very smart. Unfortunately, I like dealing with stupid people, like that sovereign emperor Hua Qin, like this silly girl and her mother." The White Dragon King's words looked ordinary, but in reality they contained a heavy murderous intent. If Xiao Chan were stupid, the White Dragon King would have spared his life like he did with the sovereign emperor Hua Qin. Xiao Chan could be considered a fatal threat. Lu Ruyun pouted. "How am I stupid? How are you stupid?" The White Dragon King retorted in frustration. Naturally, Xiao Chan understood the meaning behind the White Dragon King's words. He replied calmly, "However, I like to interact with smart people. Smart people think more. The more they think, the more they have to worry. When the White Dragon King heard that, his heart sank. He almost could not resist smacking Xiao Chun to death on the spot. Xiao Chun's words also contained a hidden meaning. He could tell that the White Dragon King had some worries. If he were as stupid as the sovereign Emperor Hua Qin, he would not have any worries at all. He would not have any qualms about killing Xiao Chun with one palm strike. There was no need to think too much. Unfortunately, Xiao Chun was the White Dragon King, not the sovereign Emperor Hua Qin. Brat, you have guts. The White Dragon King felt incredibly frustrated. He did not want to remain here any longer. He pulled Lu Ruyun and said, "Come back with me." However, Lu Ruyun continued to support Xiao Chun, grabbing Xiao Chun's arm. She feared that if she left, her father would turn around and kill Xiao Chun. She lowered her head and said, "I'll go back myself." The White Dragon King laughed in frustration. He said helplessly, "I said that you are stupid and you still refuse to admit it? You should have known long ago that a girl cannot be kept at home. It would have been good if you gave birth to a son. No, if you gave birth to such a stupid son, you would really be frustrated to death." The White Dragon King's words made everyone flabbergasted. Murong Yan and the others could not help laughing, but they did not dare to. The White Dragon King let go. Shaking his head, he did not linger and left. As the White Dragon King walked, he suddenly felt very sullen, even more sullen than the sovereign Emperor Hua Qin. About 7 minutes later, the sovereign Emperor Hua Qin led Hua Qingyun, rushing out of desolate God Valley. Along the way, Hua Qingyun complained endlessly. However, Hua Qin showed a sullen expression, pretending not to hear anything. Suddenly, Hua Qin stopped, and his expression changed slightly. At some point in time, the White Dragon King blocked the two's path with a smile. The sovereign Emperor Hua Qin felt goosebumps from the White Dragon King's stare. He asked somewhat weakly, "White Dragon King, why are you blocking my path? Are you trying to kill me?" The White Dragon King smiled happily and said, "Indeed, it is more comfortable to deal with stupid people. The moment they speak, they can make others laugh. What is the point of me killing you? I just feel somewhat sullen and want to vent it on someone. No, that's not right. It's exchanging a few moves. Come. Let me beat you up. Screw you." Hua Qin felt so frustrated that he wanted to vomit blood. He cursed and turned to run, not even caring about Hua Qingyun. Ha. You are still not getting any better. Don't you know that my principle for beating people up is that the farther you run, the harder I beat you up? The White Dragon King laughed loudly. Before he left, he glanced at Hua Qingyun, leaving behind something that Hua Qingyun found strange. It is better to have a daughter. She is cute when she is a little stupider. A stupid son would really be frustrated to death. Chapter 1970. The blazing sun hung high in the sky, giving off a resplendent light. Desolate God Valley was covered in blood sand all year round. It was rare to see such a clear blazing sun. After the White Dragon King left, Xiao Chun and the others followed. 1 hour later they arrived outside the city. When the group looked back, the ancient city glistened under the sunlight, giving off a different kind of light. Even the blood sand in desolate God Valley could not hide the beauty of this city. It was time to leave. The group had gained a lot on this trip to the ancient city. They all felt confident of successfully entering Ancestor Dragon City in the competition between the 7 outer palaces half a year later. Xiao Chun looked at the group and asked, "What are your plans after we return?" Murong Yan stretched lazily and patted his mouth with his right hand. Then he yawned and said, "I will probably sleep for a while and properly refine the accumulations during this period. After that, I might make a trip to the Red Dragon Palace to see if I can find the inheritance." The Red Dragon race's inheritance might be the same as the Blood-Soaked Dragon Emperor's inheritance that Xiao Chun obtained in the Blue Dragon Palace. The Dragon Palaces of the various races all had similar inheritances to test their juniors. Xiao Chun recalled some of the Blood-Soaked Dragon Emperor's memories of the Red Dragon Palace. Then he said to Murong Yan, "The Red Dragon Bloodline's inheritance palace has a total of 9 stages. If you want to go further and obtain a better inheritance, I suggest that you make up for some wind-attributed martial techniques and mysteries and train your eyes." 9 stages? The stages of the inheritance palace have always been a secret. I heard that others only made it to the 6th stage at most. Furthermore, what the test is a secret. How did you know, Xiaochen? The laziness on Morong Yan's face vanished, replaced by shock. Xiaochen smiled and did not say anything more. Morong Yan scratched his head and said, I'll listen to you. In any case, there is no loss. Xiaochen, what are your plans after you return? Situ Chongfeng asked. Xiaochen thought for a while before replying, I have not thought about it yet. I am already confident of entering Ancestor Dragon City. I might consider some things after I enter Ancestor Dragon City. The others felt embarrassed. While they were still thinking about how to enter Ancestor Dragon City, Xiaochen was already thinking about what to do after entering Ancestor Dragon City. However, no one doubted that Xiaochen indeed had this ability. A sharp bird cry came from the sky. When the group looked up, joy appeared on their faces. The demon blood vulture. The silly bird is back. Morong Yan said joyfully, This is great. There is no need to walk back. The group soared into the air and landed on the demon blood vulture one after another. It was time to go back. Xiaochen took one last look at the ancient city deep in thought. This was a city created by the martial god after his death. Every cultivator had such a city in their hearts. It was dreams, it was youth, it was pride. But in the end it couldn't resist the mercilessness of time. In the face of time, everything became nothing. The city was still there, but the people were not. Time has taken away our city, but it cannot take away our pride, just like the city in front of us. Even after so many years, when the sun shone on it, it still glistened, showing the glory of the past. There was such a person who once worked hard, had dreams and fought hard. In the end he became a martial god and left behind a city in this desolate god valley. That was enough. Let's go. Under the sunlight, the demon blood vulture, which looked like a scarlet phoenix, carried the group of people into the distance. There was no protection from the ancient city there. Blood sand spread everywhere, and the environment was harsh. Day after day, year after year, it was the same, dull and unchanging. However, who cared? Battles were still going on in the ancient city. However, more and more people were walking out of the city. The remaining fights were a game between sovereign personages, which had little to do with them. Zhen Yuan came out of the western city, holding a black divine crystal. When he turned his head back to look, his expression turned grave. Soon, many flood dragon human cultivators gathered here. Where's the young master? The flood dragon humans asked somewhat anxiously when they saw only Zhen Yuan and not Yin Songming. Whoosh! The black crystal left Zhen Yuan's hand, and black smoke spread out, slowly materializing a vague silhouette. Although the silhouette was not clear, the flood dragon humans immediately recognized it. They exclaimed excitedly, Young master! Don't worry, I'm fine. The Dragonman race doesn't even have a place to stand. How can I die so easily? That blurry silhouette and face were indistinct. Only a pair of eyes flickered with a resolute expression. This time it was a blessing in disguise, and he'd managed to survive in the midst of death. It actually allowed him to comprehend a trace of the profound meaning of life that was even more difficult to comprehend. He had to say that he had to thank Xiaochen. I hope the next time he sees me, he won't be too surprised. Let's go. With Zhen Yuan leading the way, the group of flood dragon humans started their return journey. On the other side, the Black Lotus Saint and the mysterious person shrouded in a bloody shadow walked out from the east gate. There were a few wounds on Mingxian's body from the demon blood vulture's poison. The Buddhist light flowed in the wounds, and the black toxins were constantly being cleaned out. What a pity. If I miss this opportunity, it will be difficult to kill him next time. The mysterious person shrouded in the blood shadow sighed and said softly. At that time, the two had clearly sensed that Xiaochen was already in a rather weak state. At best, he could bring out 30% of his usual strength. Unfortunately, the demon blood vulture had appeared out of nowhere, delaying the two. They had clearly knocked back this demon blood vulture several times. Who could have imagined that after circling around, the demon blood vulture would craftily appear again? That demon blood vulture did not seem like a beast at all. Its high intelligence made the two clench their teeth in frustration several times. Holy Sun, where are you going next? Since they missed the opportunity, so be it. The two had a pretty good harvest in the ancient city. This was especially so for Ming Xian. He had unexpectedly obtained some divine blood. In the future, his strength would soar rapidly, and the benefits of the divine blood would slowly reveal themselves. Ming Xian said softly, "I will break through to sovereign personage first. After that, I plan to go to the Xuewu dynasty." During the Black Lotus Church's most glorious period, it was the state religion of the Xuewu dynasty. Now there are many believers there. If I develop properly, I will definitely be able to make a comeback. The mysterious person shrouded in bloody shadows said after some thought. However, I heard that the Xuewu dynasty is now filled with demonic Tao sections. Back then, the Azure Lotus Church killed most of the Black Lotus Church's believers. If you go, you will definitely clash head-on with the Azure Lotus Church. The Holy Son Ming Xian said indifferently, "Where there is a will, there is a will." Master told me that the Black Lotus Church still has some seniors in the Xuewu dynasty. As long as I find the ancestral court, I can officially wield the sect master seal. As for the Azure Lotus Church, I have long wanted to meet that Azure Lotus holy daughter. A trace of confidence appeared in the Holy Son Ming Xian's words. As he looked at the mysterious person shrouded in bloody shadows, he asked, "What are your plans? Are you coming with me?" "How can I go? I do not even have a physical body. When I find the 5-element divine lightning and condense the 5-element divine body, I will meet up with you." The mysterious person shrouded in bloody shadows sighed softly, a trace of loneliness flashing in his tone. "All right, I'll wait for you." The two parted like this, agreeing to meet up in the Xuewu dynasty in the future. 7 days later, two people in white battle armor landed in the sky above the ancient city. The battle armor flickered with a crystalline light, radiating a faint divine nature. This battle armor actually contained divine might. Although it was very faint, it was bona fide divine might. If others saw this, they would definitely be greatly startled, feeling extremely confused. However, if a divine Vane Realm sovereign emperor were here and saw the insignia of the sun, moon, and stars carved on the battle armor, they would not reveal an expression of understanding. Another true god that lost to time. Just look at the size of this ancient city. I wonder how horrifying it was when it was alive. Stop sighing and get to work quickly. The major characters in the holy domain are all waiting. Yes. As the two hovered in the air, they continuously formed extremely complicated hand seals. Immediately, the divine energy hidden in the ancient city activated. The cultivator still exploring the city were prepared to send this divine energy all the way to the ends of the world. Then they left for some reason. After a while, the ancient city floated up. The two actually lifted the ancient city with their bare hands and flew into the sky. From a distance, it looked like the two were not holding up a city but a gravestone. Their expressions were solemn and respectful. At this moment, Xiao Chun had just rushed back to the Divine Dragon Empire's Heaven Dragon Palace and had not had time to rest. Many elders sent word to him at the same time, saying that the first palace master had been waiting for him for a long time. Chapter 1971. The head palace master is looking for me? What is it? Don't be so long-winded. Hurry up and go. If you don't come back soon, the recall order will be issued. Without any hesitation, the elders led Xiao Chun to the main hall of the Heaven Dragon Peak. Xiao Chun was somewhat puzzled. The three palace masters were elusive existences in the Heaven Dragon Palace. Many people might not even have the chance to see the three hall masters even after staying in the Heaven Dragon Hall for more than 10 years. Among the three hall masters, the first hall master was the most mysterious. He almost never showed himself. The second palace master, Zhu Yang, held the true authority in the palace. He often saw the heaven-class core disciples, so he was not too mysterious. The third palace master was in charge of the medicine refining pavilion, so he would occasionally see the people who often went to the medicine refining pavilion. As for the first palace master, he did not care about anything. Aside from the heaven-class elders, ordinary elders rarely saw him. Not to mention these disciples. Xiao Chun was puzzled. He did not know why the first hall master was looking for him so urgently. What Xiao Chun heard the most about this first palace master was that he was the person who truly perfected Firmament's rage in the past few thousand years. He didn't know anything else. After analyzing it for a while, He couldn't come to a conclusion, so he could only let him be. In the time it took to brew a cup of tea, Xiao Qian saw the mysterious first palace master in the hall. Unexpectedly, the other two palace masters were there as well. When the second and third palace masters saw him, they nodded slightly. Xiao Qian sized up the first palace master. His aura was unfathomable, and his strength was not something he could estimate. He wore a gray dragon robe and had an extraordinary bearing. However, there was a hint of fatigue on his face. Who knew what he had experienced recently? Greetings, Hall Masters. Xiao Qian bowed slightly and cupped his hands in salute. The first palace master revealed a smile when he saw Xiao Qian. He said softly, "You are too polite. Since you can stand at the top of the Heaven Dragon, you don't have to bow to anyone in the Heaven Dragon Hall. My name is Yun. You can just call me Senior Yun. There's no need to be reserved." "Thank you, Head Palace Master." Even so, Xiao Qian still felt somewhat restrained and did not dare to be presumptuous. The first palace lord did not mind. He said in a deep voice, "You must be very curious as to why I called you here in such a hurry. Even the 3 hall masters summoned you at the same time. In fact, 2 months ago, the 3 of us had already had a serious discussion about you." When Xiao Qian heard this, he could not help but be surprised. He did not know what earth-shattering thing he had done. Supreme Dragon Fist. Second Palace Master Zhu Yang, who was at the side, looked at Xiao Qian. When he saw Xiao Qian's confusion, he gave a simple explanation. "This is just a fist technique, right? Although it is very heaven-defying, its flaws are also very obvious. I believe there should be a martial technique in the dragon race that is no weaker than the Supreme Dragon Fist." Xiao Qian was slightly surprised. Just a fist technique caused 3 palace masters to seriously discuss it. Wasn't this a little too much? Of course, the vast dragon race has a long inheritance. There are countless cultivation techniques and martial techniques. At every moment, there are powerful martial techniques of our predecessors being excavated. Or perhaps there are peerless geniuses creating their own shocking martial techniques. A brilliant light flashed in the first palace master's eyes. It was like he was recalling the past. After a pause, he said, "As far as I know, in terms of fist techniques, there are 4 martial techniques that are no weaker than the Supreme Dragon Fist. However, the Supreme Dragon Fist is unique. If one becomes a heaven dragon, the horrifying might of this fist technique will surpass your expectations." Xiao Qian knew that the might of the Supreme Dragon Fist would increase when one became a Heaven Dragon. Xiao Qian infused the mysteries of the Heaven Dragon into the Supreme Dragon Fist, and instantly overtook Yen Songming. This was the best proof. However, Xiao Qian had not expected that after he truly became a Heaven Dragon, its might would increase to a level that even the first palace lord feared. However, what did all this have to do with calling Xiao Qian over? Feeling suspicious, Xiao Qian asked, "Could it be that you want to cripple my Supreme Dragon Fist?" If the Heaven Dragon Palace wanted to cripple it, Xiao Qian would feel helpless. However, he would probably still choose to accept it. After all, it was a secret technique of the Heaven Dragon Palace in the first place. If it were a cultivation technique that Xiao Qian created, he would fight to the end no matter who it was if anyone wanted to cripple it. When the first palace master heard that, he hesitated for a moment before saying sullenly, "Let's not talk about this for now. This time, the one who truly wants to meet you is not us but the royal clan of the Golden Dragon bloodline." At the mention of the Golden Dragon bloodline's royal clan, a look of disgust flashed in the first palace master's eyes. However, it was extremely minute. No one noticed it. "You are Xiao Qian, that mixed blood dragon who comprehended the Supreme Dragon Fist." Just at this moment, an arrogant voice rang out from outside. A dignified and graceful middle-aged man wearing golden dragon armor with Emperor's dragon chi surrounding him opened the door. This person's cultivation was not very high, only a small perfection sovereign personage. However, his aura was much stronger than that of the small perfection sovereign personages that Xiao Qian had seen before. Clearly, with the support of the divine dragon bloodline, this person was not an ordinary small perfection sovereign personage. The first palace master said softly, "This is Lord Qinyu, Monarch Yu from Ancestor Dragon City." At the same time, the third palace master's voice projection rang out in Xiao Qian's ears. Whether Xiao Qian crippled the Supreme Dragon Fist or not, It all depended on this person's thoughts. When Xiao Chan heard that, he immediately felt dissatisfied. If the Heaven Dragon Palace wanted to cripple his Supreme Dragon Fist, Xiao Chan would not have any complaints. However, if a random Golden Divine Dragon wanted to cripple his Supreme Dragon Fist, he would not be able to do so. He absolutely would not agree. To think that you are not bowing when you see this monarch. When that Qin Yu saw that Xiao Chan did not move, he smiled coldly and said, "You are indeed a mixed blood dragon who cultivates the Supreme Dragon Fist. Your temper is extraordinary. You have completely forgotten your status." "Greetings, Monarch Yu." Xiao Chan spoke in a calm tone, neither servile nor overbearing. Qin Yu snorted coldly and did not look directly at Xiao Chan. He said indifferently, "Cut the crap. Demonstrate the Supreme Dragon Fist for me right here. After I take a look, I will decide whether you can continue practicing it." "Sorry, I cannot comply." Xiao Chan felt speechless. "Do you think I will practice it just because you say so? Do you think I am a monkey?" Qin Yu revealed a horrified expression. He could not help feeling enraged. To think that a mixed blood dragon could throw a tantrum at him. "I will count to 3. If you do not practice it, I will cripple your Supreme Dragon Fist." Qin Yu threatened coldly with a sullen expression. Xiao Chan smiled coldly and said, "Who do you think you are? If the 3 palace masters want to cripple my Supreme Dragon Fist, I will not say any nonsense. I won't say a word of nonsense. Who do you think you are? Have I received any kindness from you? I will not practice it for you to see. If you are capable, try crippling me now." Everyone had their own temper and bottom line, their own pride and persistence, and their own principles of dealing with people and things. Even if he died here today, Xiao Chan would not practice the Supreme Dragon Fist for Qin Yu. When the 3 palace masters heard this, they were greatly startled. Unexpectedly, Xiao Chan spoke to Qin Yu like this. After all, the other party came from the Golden Dragon's royal bloodline. Although he was only a sovereign personage, he was not worth mentioning in their eyes. However, his bloodline was there for all to see. In name, his status was even higher than the 3 palace masters. "You are seeking death." Qin Yu released a murderous intent. Unexpectedly, an insignificant mixed blood dragon dared to berate him. This person truly did not know the immensity of heaven and earth. Qin Yu immediately punched at Xiao Chan. This was the Emperor Dragon Fist that only the royal bloodline of the Golden Dragons could practice. This punch contained the Dragon Emperor's might. It carried heavy might and pressure as it punched at Xiao Chan at lightning speed. Divine Dragon War Body. The other party was a small perfection sovereign personage, 1 grade higher than Lu Yuanzong, who was an initial perfection sovereign personage. Furthermore, Xiao Chan had the support of a divine dragon bloodline. He did not dare to underestimate the other party, so he immediately activated the Divine Dragon War Body. All the bones in Xiao Chen's body crackled like thunder, and his body instantly swelled up. Then he punched with the Supreme Dragon Fist. Bang! The 2 fists clashed, and Xiao Chan immediately vomited blood and went flying back. Xiao Chan was not a match for the other party at all. After he landed, he even took a few steps back before he could stand stably. However, Xiao Chan gritted his teeth and revealed an unyielding expression in his eyes. He showed no intention of retreating. Instead, his fighting spirit blazed even stronger. To think that he did not die. Qin Yu is shocked. Just now he used 30% of his power in that punch. Originally he wanted to use a thunderous method. Originally he had wanted to kill Xiao Chan at lightning speed, preventing the 3 palace masters from reacting. However, from the looks of it, although Xiao Chan was injured, he clearly could still fight. His aura did not weaken at all. Xiao Chan could not help feeling humiliated. The other party was merely a holy venerate, while he was a bona fide sovereign personage. Unexpectedly, Qin Yu failed to kill the other party with 1 punch, not even severely injuring him. If word of this spread, he would become a huge joke. A murderous intent involuntarily welled up in Qin Yu's heart. "Stop!" The 1st palace master shouted coldly as he stood up, enraged. This Qin Yu was becoming increasingly overboard. However, Qin Yu acted like he did not hear anything, showing no signs of stopping. He knew that the 3 palace masters would not dare to truly attack him. If they dared to attack him, The Heaven Dragon Palace would suffer the punishment of Ancestor Dragon City, suffering an extremely miserable end. Screw you! How dare you injure my brother? You are really damn tired of living. Bang! Just as the three palace masters felt incredibly frustrated and furious, a scarlet figure suddenly appeared outside the hall. A blood-red silhouette suddenly appears outside the main hall. It rushes in at an extraordinarily fast speed and sends Qinyu flying with an extremely overbearing kick. It was the Blood Dragon Guard's Vice Hall Master Li. Who dares to injure me? Qinyu, who fell to the ground, was greatly startled. He could not believe that someone really dared to attack him. Beat him up. Vice Hall Master Li shouted coldly. A group of Blood Dragon Guard experts immediately rushed out of the hall and surrounded Qinyu without even thinking. All sorts of attacks rained down on Qinyu. Chapter 1972. The sudden appearance of the Blood Dragon Guards and Vice Hall Master Li shocked the three palace masters. Even Xiaochun looked surprised. He had already thought of the worst-case scenario, which was to leave the Heaven Dragon Hall and find another place to develop. Who knew that such a funny scene would occur? Miserable screams could be heard coming from the spacious hall. The experts of the Blood Dragon Guard surrounded and beat up Qinyu. Qinyu was pretty strong. Unfortunately, Vice Hall Master Li's strength was a level higher than his, firmly suppressing him. Coupled with the other Blood Dragon Guard's experts, they could not retaliate in mere moments, letting out miserable shrieks. Li Yunfeng, how dare you attack me? Are you tired of living? Qinyu, who was beaten to a horrible state, finally recognized Vice Hall Master Li and scolded loudly. Vice Hall Master Li laughed loudly and said, "Who is Li Yunfeng? This old man is the Blood Dragon Guard's Lord Li. Today I will beat you up. Beat him to death. Beat him until he can't speak. A mere royal prince dares to bully my brother? Yes, Hall Master. Three palace masters save me." Qinyu, who was beaten miserably, finally remembered his savior and shouted loudly. But after calling for a long time, nobody responds. Qinyu turns his head to take a look. At the center of the great hall, the three hall masters had left at some point. That's right, he left. He had completely disappeared, as if he had never appeared and never seen him. How could this be? Qinyu said in a daze, not understanding what was going on. Pa! With a swaying movement of his body, Vice Leader Li attacks Qinyu again. After blocking 3 moves, Qinyu's aura is in chaos. Vice Leader Li sends him flying with a slap. *CK it hurts. His skin is extraordinarily thick. Vice Hall Master Li said somewhat exaggeratedly as he looked at Qinyu, whose face was swollen like a pig's head. Don't just stand there, continue beating him up. Yes. Xiaochun silently scattered his divine dragon war body and arrived beside Vice Hall Master Li. He said, "Big Brother Li, many thanks." At the same time, worry flashed on Xiaochun's face. Will there be any consequences for this Vice Hall Master Li standing up for me? Vice Hall Master Li smiled disapprovingly and said, "Don't say too much first. I'll tell you in detail later. There will be a good show to watch later." Just as Qinyu, a bona fide sovereign personage, was about to kneel and beg for mercy, a loud shout came from outside the hall. "Stop!" It was the 3 hall masters. The 3 of them walked in with some surprise. When they saw the situation before them, they were stunned for a moment. The 3rd palace master went over to help Qinyu up and examined his injuries. "Big brother, the ribs in front of Monarch Yu's chest are all broken, and his internal organs are all shattered. His face has already been destroyed." The 3rd palace master said in shock, as if he had just found out about this. The corner of Xiao Chen's mouth twitched for a moment. His acting was so real that if he hadn't seen everything with his own eyes, he would have believed it to be real. The 1st hall master looked at Vice Hall Master Li and asked, "What happened?" Vice Hall Master Li said, "I don't know what's wrong with this kid, but he actually attacked a core disciple of our Heaven Dragon Hall. Fighting is not allowed in the Heaven Dragon Hall. This is the ancestral rule, so I taught him a lesson." The 1st hall master said coldly, "Do you know who you beat up? This is Monarch Yu. Ancestor Dragon City's Monarch Yu." Vice Hall Master Li looked at Qinyu in shock and exclaimed, "Monarch Yu. Woo." Qinyu's face looked like a pig's head, with dark circles under his eyes. He looked left and right, completely stunned. He felt like his intelligence was insufficient, not knowing what was going on. Qin Yu wanted to say something but discovered that his mouth was too swollen. He could no longer speak, so he could only whimper endlessly. Vice Hall Master Li said in understanding, "I understand now. It's all this brat's fault. I'll bring him back to the law enforcement hall to interrogate him. Let's see what's going on with him. To think that he dared to attack Monarch Yu. 3 palace masters, I'll bring him away now. Woo, woo, woo. Don't let this brat go." Qin Yu sat on the ground whimpering endlessly. He was so anxious that he nearly cried. However, Qin Yu could not do anything. He could only watch as Vice Hall Master Li, who beat him up, led Xiao Chan away. The first Hall Master and the second Hall Master said, "It looks like it is a misunderstanding." However, although it is a misunderstanding, the Blood Dragon guards are becoming increasingly overboard. They even dare to beat up Monarch Yu. The second Hall Master nodded with a smile and said, "We have to report this matter as it is. I just used the light and shadow stone to record it. I will send it over later. Monarch Yu, don't worry. We will definitely uphold justice for you. We will not let you get beaten up for nothing." After saying that, the second Hall Master gently tapped the light and shadow stone in his hand. Immediately a screen of light appeared. The light and shadow stone showed only scenes and no sound. The first scene was of Qin Yu and Xiao Chan chatting. Then Qin Yu suddenly attacked. This scene stunned Qin Yu. How could it be like this? In the scene, Qin Yu ignored the difference in cultivation and directly attacked a junior, looking like he wanted to kill Xiao Chan. After that, Vice Hall Master Li barged in and beat Qin Yu up. The 3 palace masters came out to stop him. Finally, the scene fixed on Qin Yu's face, which looked like a pig's head. Qin Yu was utterly stunned. He suddenly realized that he seemed to have fallen into a trap. If Xiao Chan handed over this light and shadow stone, he would not be able to explain himself. Not only would he have to suffer a beating for nothing, but his reputation would also be ruined. Furthermore, he would be punished by the royal clan. Even if he jumped into the Yellow River, he would not be able to clear his name. Xiao Chen's illustrious reputation would fall here. In the past, Xiao Chan felt that these 3 palace masters were obedient to him, not daring to say anything even though he was angry. Now that he thought about it, he trembled in fear. They were already divine Vein Realm experts, yet they still tried to scheme against him. After coughing a few times, Qin Yu said with some difficulty, "The matter of the Supreme Dragon Fist, let it go. Xiao Chan has not comprehended the essence of the Supreme Dragon Fist yet, so it is not worth mentioning." The second Hall Master smiled faintly and tossed the light and shadow stone in his hand to Qin Yu. "Many thanks. Monarch Yu reported it honestly. Third brother, go and find some good medicinal pills to quickly treat Monarch Yu's injuries." After Vice Hall Master Li pulled Xiao Chen out, he also felt somewhat confused, not understanding what happened. The acting of the 3 palace masters did not seem like impromptu performances. It seemed like they had planned this for a long time. Vice Hall Master Li said somewhat ruefully, "Don't think about it. This was the second Hall Master's idea. Many of the Golden Dragon races people have always been disdainful of mixed blood dragons, looking down on them. However, this Qin Yu is extraordinarily stupid. Does he really think that the 3 palace masters of the Heaven Dragon Palace are easy to deal with? He does not know that for a mixed blood dragon to reach their positions, which one of them is not a formidable character? How can an insignificant sovereign personage like him guess? The details are like this. After you practice the Supreme Dragon Fist, the first Hall Master went to Ancestor Dragon City to explain it to the other dragon race people. The main thing is the Golden Dragon race. The other dragon races will not care much about it. Hence Qin Yu came. Who knew you happened to not be in the Heaven Dragon Palace? Your luck is extraordinarily good. If he happened to block you, it would have been somewhat problematic. After that, the second Hall Master came to discuss it with me, and we came up with such a show. The commotion caused by you practicing the Supreme Dragon Fist has calmed down for now. There is no need to worry." Vice Hall Master Li spoke somewhat calmly. However, Xiao Chan could sense a surging undercurrent in his words. It looked like the commotion caused by the Supreme Dragon Fist was much greater than Xiao Chan imagined. However, Xiao Chun had been kept in the dark and did not know. Vice Hall Master Li sighed softly. The first Hall Master suffered significant grievances in Ancestor Dragon City. Originally, I did not intend to tell you all this lest it affect your mental state and delay your advancement to Holy Venerate. Now that the matter has blown up, I have no choice but to tell you. Haha. However, you gave us a pleasant surprise. To think that you actually broke through to Holy Venerate. A warm feeling welled up in Xiao Qin's heart. He said seriously, Big Brother Li has suffered as well. This time the Blood Dragon Guards offended Qinyu. It will be troublesome. However, Vice Hall Master Li guffawed and said, The Blood Dragon Guards are afraid of many things, but they are not afraid of offending others. The Blood Dragon Guards are an independent faction, not under the jurisdiction of the Dragon Kings. We obey only the Shadow Dragon Sovereign. The Shadow Dragon Sovereign? Vice Hall Master Li nodded and said, That's right. Hence you don't have to worry about me. The 3 Palace Masters might fear this Qinyu, but we, the Blood Dragon Guards, do not. From the moment the Blood-Soaked Dragon Emperor established the Blood Dragon Guards, they were independent of the 7 major bloodlines. However, they were also closely connected to the 6-colored divine dragons, holding a transcendent status. When Xiao Chun heard that, he felt stunned. The Blood-Soaked Dragon Emperor actually established the Blood Dragon Guards? This somewhat surprised him. So, he searched through the vast memories of the Blood-Soaked Dragon Emperor to see if he could obtain any useful information. Chapter 1973. The Blood-Soaked Dragon Emperor's memories were extremely vast and complicated. Xiao Chun could not possibly accept them all, so he compressed and sealed most of them in a corner. When he needed to use it, he would search for it. For example, the Red Dragon Race's Inheritance Palace. When Xiao Chun thought hard about the Red Dragon Race's Inheritance Palace, the Blood-Soaked Dragon Emperor's information about the Red Dragon Race's Inheritance Palace slowly appeared. When Xiao Chun heard that the Blood-Soaked Dragon Emperor created the Blood Dragon Guards, he recovered from his shock. After a while, some information about the Blood Dragon Guards appeared in his mind. It turned out that while the Blood-Soaked Dragon Emperor was in charge of the Dragon Race, the Blood Dragon Guards were an independent organization responsible for intelligence. The Blood Dragon Guards were indeed founded by the Blood Dragon Guards. However, after so many years, the Blood Dragon Guards were no longer just in charge of intelligence. Now they extended their reach to every corner of the Divine Dragon Empire. Hehe. You have never heard of the Blood-Soaked Dragon Emperor, right? Vice Hall Master Li said with a smile when he saw Xiao Chun's confused expression. Xiao Chun came back to his senses and nodded. I've never heard of it. How could Xiao Chun not have heard of the Blood-Soaked Dragon Emperor before? Right now, Xiao Chun was the person who understood the Blood-Soaked Dragon Emperor the best in the entire dragon race. However, he was unable to explain it to Vice Hall Master Li, so he could only feign ignorance. Vice Hall Master Li said unhurriedly, Speaking of this Blood-Soaked Dragon Emperor, there are some secrets of the dragon race that I only heard of by chance. Just treat it as a story. Actually, I don't really believe it. Xiao Chun said softly, Brother Li, tell me. It is said that 100,000 years ago, there were a total of 7 divine dragons. Other than the white dragon, the golden dragon, the silver dragon, the red dragon, the blue dragon, and the green dragon, there was also the strongest divine dragon. This Blood-Soaked Dragon Emperor is the Dragon King of this strongest bloodline, and one of the strongest dragon emperors in the history of the dragon race. Back then, the Black Dragon King nearly destroyed the dragon race and turned the entire Central Great Realm upside down, starting a horrifying war between the righteous and demonic factions. However, the one who sealed him in the end was the Blood-Soaked Dragon Emperor. Vice Hall Master Li said softly, It would not be an exaggeration to say that he personally ended the previous war between righteous and demonic factions. Xiao Chun pretended to be curious and asked, What kind of dragon is this? Since it is so strong, why is there no word of it? Vice Hall Master Li frowned and said, Yeah, I find it strange too. It is said that this lineage is called the Blue Dragon, but it has been extinct for nearly 100,000 years. I'm afraid that even if the Blue Dragon lineage stood in front of me, I wouldn't know what kind of dragon it is. Xiao Qin's heart skipped a beat. After he confirmed that this Vice Hall Master Li was not testing him, he heaved a sigh of relief. It's not that there weren't any words left behind. It said that some secrets were preserved. Furthermore, it would be passed down from generation to generation. Who would care about a dragon race that no longer existed? The Empire's territory has changed several times, and the central world is in turmoil. There are too many distractions. Xiao Chun was slightly startled when he heard that. But when he thought about it, it was indeed so. As it was passed down from generation to generation, fewer people knew about the blue dragon lineage, unless they were like the heaven dragon of the previous generation. Otherwise, they would not care about the blue dragon lineage at all and would not know more about the blue dragon. Vice Hall Masterly said. However, no matter what, the blood dragon guards have passed it down from generation to generation. We have never forgotten that the blood-soaked dragon emperor is the founder of the blood dragon guards. This is recorded in the general principles. Xiao Chun smiled and said, "That's a pretty good story. I'm done listening to it. Big Brother Li, are you going to bring me to the law enforcement hall now?" Vice Hall Master Li laughed loudly and patted Xiao Chun's shoulder. "Return to your residence and cultivate properly. Don't overthink. The 3 palace masters are counting on you in the competition between the 7 outer palaces." After saying that, Vice Hall Master Li left. If Qin Yu knew about this, he would probably die of depression. The Blood Dragon Guards did not even put on a show of bringing Xiao Chun to the law enforcement hall to interrogate him, directly letting Xiao Chun go. As Xiao Chun looked in the direction that Vice Hall Master Li left, he entered deep thought. He felt that in these short 4 hours he had experienced a lot. It was even more tiring than the adventure in the ancient city. The seemingly calm Divine Dragon Empire was actually filled with undercurrents. The Supreme Dragon Fist cultivation technique stirred up so many storms. Xiao Chun vaguely sensed that the storm had not completely subsided yet. The Dragon Emperor's throne changed every 500 years. Before the Dragon Emperor abdicated, the successor would be determined first. According to the rules, mixed blood dragons could fight for the successor. However, in reality, only the most talented junior generation outstanding talents of the 6-colored divine dragons fought for it. The Golden Dragon bloodline had already occupied the position of Dragon Emperor for many years. This time, only the Golden Dragon race's people came to care about the matter of the Supreme Dragon Fist. In reality, the other 5 bloodlines were happy to see this happen, hoping for a variable to appear. To break the Divine Dragon Empire's calm on the surface, the more chaotic it was, the better. Thousands of clues gathered in Xiao Chun's mind. Then a majestic scene appeared before his eyes. Xiao Chun thought of the White Dragon King. For a moment, Xiao Chun felt that he would die at the White Dragon King's hands. The White Dragon race had Lu Ruyue. The other divine dragons should have their own outstanding talents as well. The 6-colored divine dragons were all stifling themselves in the struggle to become the Dragon Emperor. Sooner or later, an even greater storm would erupt, shaking the entire Divine Dragon Empire. However, what role would I play in this? After returning to reality, Xiao Chun's figure flashed, and he returned to Cold Moon Cave. Then, he arrived at the mirror-smooth lake in the cave. Splash! Xiao Chun directly leaped into the lake. Then, he closed his eyes and slowly sank into the lake. When Xiao Chun reached the bottom of the lake, he shut off his senses. Then Xiao Chun relaxed and fell into a deep sleep. He was too tired. Right now, he did not want to do anything. He just wanted to sleep quietly. In the struggle of the martial Tao, a good night's sleep was often a luxury. 3 days later, the tranquility of the lake was broken, and a figure leaped out of the center. As Xiao Chun stood on the lake, the water droplets on his body gently fell into the lake. Xiao Chun did not use his veritable essence energy to evaporate the water. He just wanted to experience the feeling of being wet. Amid the mist, he looked up at the rising sun in the east. It was colorful and had a different flavor. Xiao Chun stretched out his hand and wiped away the water on his face. His vision became clear, and his eyes immediately lit up. He felt carefree and relaxed. The fatigue that he had accumulated for a long time was swept away. Then Xiao Chun let out a long breath of turbid air. Dressed in white, Xiao Chun's long hair draped over his shoulders, and the water droplets had yet to dry. He appeared unrestrained as he arrived at the courtyard with his hair draped over his shoulders. Xiao Chun took out a bottle of wine, the 1,000-year flame. However, he could not bear to drink it. There were only 2 or 3 bottles of 1,000-year flame left. If he drank it all, there would be no more. Xiao Chun took out a night-glazed wine cup and filled it with wine. Then, he raised the exquisite wine cup and gently swirled it. The golden starlight hovering above the wine cup slowly flickered with light. As the fragrance of the wine spread out, it rippled. As Xiao Chun slowly swirled the wine cup, the wine was adjusted to its most perfect state. The starlight flew out and formed a golden crow flying in the air. When the golden crow mysterious phenomenon disappeared, Xiao Chun drank it in one gulp, feeling the fiery aftertaste of the 1,000-year flame. After drinking only one cup, Xiao Chun put away the 1,000-year flame. What wine is it? It smells so fragrant. Just at this moment, someone arrived uninvited. Xiao Chun turned his head to look and saw the third palace master, the second palace master, and the first palace master. Xiao Chun stood up and performed a cupped fist salute. Greetings, palace masters. At this meeting, the expressions of the three palace masters were much warmer, no longer as grave and fatigued as they had been the first time they met. Clearly, the storm of the supreme dragon fist had come to an end. The third palace master looked at Xiao Chun and said, Xiao Chun, are you hiding some good wine? Quickly take it out. I already smelled it. Xiao Chun could not help feeling some heartache. He could negotiate with the other good wines, but he could not bear to take out this 1,000-year flame. I'll exchange it with you with a rank 4 heavenly pill. The third palace master said fervently as he closed his eyes and sniffed the fragrance of the wine. Fortunately, at the crucial moment, the second palace master saved Xiao Chun. Third brother, speak your mind. Don't get drunk here. Only then did the third palace master say somewhat unwillingly, all right. Xiao Chun, the three of us palace masters have unanimously decided to give you some pointers before the competition between the 7 outer palaces begins. When Xiao Chun heard that, he rejoiced. Really? This was a pleasant surprise. Probably no heaven-class core disciple in the entire Heaven Dragon Palace would receive such treatment. Having 3 palace masters giving pointers at the same time was heaven-defying. Of course. I have long wanted to see your firmaments rage. The first palace master revealed a smile as he looked at Xiao Chun. Clearly, he already knew about it. Aside from the first palace master, Xiao Chun was the second person in the Heaven Dragon Palace in the past few thousand years to successfully practice firmament's rage.